see her rolling up, Uber black Cadillac, high heel boots and a sex.
The main race of the 2026 Catalunya MotoGP turned tense after a major incident occurred in the opening laps between Alex Marquez and Pedro Acosta. Thousands of spectators in the stands of the Circuit de Barcelona Catalunya were immediately silenced when the two riders made heavy contact in the fast second sector of the corner, sending Alex Marquez flying significantly off his bike. The incident began while the front group was in a tight battle for the top five. Pedro Acosta, attempting to close the racing line, appeared to slightly lose control of the rear of his bike exiting the corner. At the same time, Alex Marquez was approaching at high speed and had insufficient room to avoid it. A heavy impact was unavoidable. Both bikes were immediately thrown into the gravel, while Alex Marquez was seen rolling several times before finally coming to a stop in the runoff area. Race direction immediately waved the red flag due to the track being covered in debris, and Alex was still receiving serious treatment from marshals and the MotoGP medical team. The atmosphere in the paddock immediately descended into panic. Several Gresini crew members were seen holding their heads while staring intently at the monitors. Meanwhile, Pedro Acosta managed to get up first, but he appeared devastated and continued to stare at Alex Marquez, who was still lying on the track. A medical helicopter was even positioned on the circuit as a precaution. Replays showed the severity of the impact. The front of Alex's motorcycle hit the side of Acosta's bike before both riders lost their balance at high speed. Many other riders narrowly avoided a pile-up due to debris scattered across the racing line. Race direction ultimately decided to temporarily halt the race for safety reasons. Riders were directed back to the pit lane while awaiting official information regarding track conditions and Alex Marquez's health. MotoGP commentators called the incident one of the most horrific of the 2026 season. Many fans on social media immediately flooded the comments section with prayers and support for Alex Marquez. The hashtag #PrayForAlex even began trending just minutes after the accident. There has been no official statement regarding Alex Marquez's injuries. However, initial reports indicate he suffered severe impacts to his shoulder and leg after hitting the gravel at high speed. Meanwhile, Pedro Acosta was summoned by the stewards to provide an explanation regarding the incident. Many began to debate whether the accident was purely a racing incident or whether Acosta made a maneuvering error while defending his position. The 2026 Catalunya MotoGP, which was previously predicted to be an action-packed race, has now turned into a day filled with tension and anxiety. The entire paddock hopes that Alex Marquez will recover quickly and avoid serious injuries after the horrific accident. Here's the full news. The main race of the 2026 Catalunya MotoGP, filled with high tension from the start, suddenly turned tense after a major accident involving Alex Marquez and Pedro Acosta halted the race. The horrific incident occurred just a few laps into the opening laps, and was already battling fiercely at the front. The atmosphere at the Circuit de Barcelona Catalunya was already heated from the moment the starting lights went out. The riders immediately displayed aggression, as the track's steadily increasing grip made many riders confident they could attack from the start. Francesco Bagnaia, Jorge Martin, Fabio Quartararo, Pedro Acosta, and Alex Marquez were seen pressing each other to secure the best position. However, the real drama finally occurred in the second sector of the circuit. Pedro Acosta, who was in a tight battle with Alex Marquez, attempted to maintain his racing line in a fast corner. Acosta appeared to go slightly wide when the rear of his bike swung wildly due to losing traction when opening the throttle early. Behind him, Alex Marquez was approaching at a much higher speed. The close proximity left Alex with no time to avoid the collision. In a matter of seconds, the front of Alex's Ducati slammed into the rear of Acosta's motorcycle with a powerful impact. The sound of the impact was clearly audible in the stands. Both motorcycles were immediately sent flying towards the gravel trap at high speed. Alex Marquez suffered a brutal highsider before hitting the asphalt and rolling repeatedly in the runoff area. Meanwhile, Pedro Acosta also fell hard and was dragged quite far from his motorcycle. The crowd immediately stood in hysterics when Alex didn't immediately get up after the accident. The marshals and the MotoGP medical team rushed onto the track within seconds of the incident. Yellow flags were waved throughout the entire sector before race direction finally decided to red flag as conditions were deemed too dangerous to continue the race. The track was littered with fairing debris, carbon fiber, and motorcycle parts scattered across the racing line. Several riders behind were nearly involved in a pile-up as they struggled to avoid the debris in the fast corner. The camera then focused on Alex Marquez, who was still receiving serious treatment at the side of the track. The medical team was seen carefully moving Alex onto a stretcher. The situation grew increasingly alarming as medical cars and a medical helicopter began to be prepared on the circuit. Meanwhile, Pedro Acosta managed to stand up first, though he appeared unsteady and deeply shocked by the incident. The young Spanish rider touched his helmet several times, while continuing to look toward where Alex Marquez was being treated. Acosta's facial expression showed profound shock after the horrific incident. The Gresini racing paddock immediately became tense. Several crew members appeared speechless as they continued to monitor the monitors. Cameras also captured Alex Marquez's family in the paddock, appearing extremely anxious as the evacuation process progressed. International MotoGP commentators called the accident one of the most horrific of the 2026 season. They highlighted the high speed of the impact and the lack of space for Alex Marquez to avoid it. Replays from various camera angles showed the full extent of the impact. When Acosta slightly lost rear grip, Alex's motorcycle immediately hit the side of the track with great force. After the initial contact, both riders lost complete control and were ejected brutally. Race direction then announced a temporary halt to the race for track cleaning and a safety assessment. All riders were directed back to the pit lane while awaiting a decision regarding the race restart. Social media exploded within minutes of the incident. Hashtags like #PrayForAlex, #CatalunyGP, and #MotoGPCrash trended across various platforms. Many MotoGP riders, former riders, and racing fans from around the world sent prayers and support to Alex Marquez. Initial rumors from the paddock suggested that Alex suffered serious injuries to his shoulder, leg, and back due to the heavy impact when he hit the gravel. However, there has been no official confirmation from the team or MotoGP regarding the rider's exact condition. Meanwhile, the MotoGP stewards immediately opened an investigation into the incident. Pedro Acosta was summoned to provide an explanation regarding the maneuvers he made before the collision. Many racing observers began to debate whether the accident was purely a racing incident or whether Acosta had miscalculated in his attempt to defend his position. The incident also sparked a major debate regarding the aggressiveness of the riders. The young riders of the 2026 MotoGP season are considered increasingly willing to take big risks from the opening laps. Many former riders have stated that the pressure to attack immediately at the start of races is now even higher due to the intense competition. After nearly 30 minutes of delays, the track finally began to be cleared. However, the paddock's primary focus remained on the latest news on Alex Marquez. All teams, riders, and spectators hoped the Spanish rider would recover quickly and avoid career-threatening injuries. The 2026 Catalunya MotoGP, initially predicted to be one of the best races of the season, has instead turned into a day filled with tension, panic, and worry. Everyone is now awaiting an official update from the medical team regarding Alex Marquez's condition following the major accident that rocked the MotoGP world.